And a lovely good morning, everybody. Welcome to Austin, Texas, and Circuit of the Americas for the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Texas, Day 2. Greg Creamer alongside Jeff Lepper, and we are getting ready for what should be an absolutely thrilling, I think, 9th round of the Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car Divisions. And we'll be setting sail for their 40-minute race here. And interesting qualifying session had unfolded. Obviously, yesterday, Jeff, one of the things that they get the opportunity here, it hasn't hit full beam in terms of heat yet, so they get a little respite from those temperatures. But they've still got some serious challenges here.
Absolutely. This is one of those tracks. It's a very flowing track. It's very hard mentally to run this course. You have to hit all of your marks, especially you see right here on the screen coming down through those S's. You mess up the first part of the S, and it just compounds it all the way down to the end. So really, if you're a tenth of a second off around this place, you're 1.8 seconds slower, which is a long time, especially in our touring car categories.
And an absolutely beautiful morning here, as you can see, not a cloud in the sky. And a great track laying ahead. And interesting developments here coming into the most recent event at Utah Motorsports Campus. Paul Holton and his C360R Audi had a massive lead and struggled that weekend with some off-course excursions, some contact that set him back in the field a little bit. And Greg Liafouge was able to sweep the weekend. Paul still has a big lead, but it's not as comfortable anymore.
No, it's not. 31 points is that gap. Before that, it was Paul Holton. We were like, hey, he's going to win the championship. Welcome back to PWC, especially with the C360R racing program. Great to have him there. But Greg Liafouge really capitalized on the problems. Paul finishes 9th in race round number 7 in Utah, and then a dismal 11th in round number 8. And with Greg Liafouge sweeping the weekend there, and then now sitting on pole here. With Paul all the way back, I believe, in 5th place. So it's this championship is definitely heating up in TC.
Yeah, and of course you get a bonus point for that pole, so that's a nice thing. As you said, Holton sits in 5th. He's got defending champion Toby Grahovic, who's certainly been quick, right there next to him on that 3rd row. Matt Travis doing a really stout job for Classic BMW, which is a Dallas-based company. They got a huge contingent of people here and a number of entries for the Classic BMW team, and Travis doing a nice job outside of that front row. Nick Whitmer for ST Racing inside of row 2. And I think one of the best bits of news we've seen, Tony Rivera in the Brass Monkey Racing Nissan qualified 4th outside of that 2nd row. After that contact and that big hit that he really was just a innocent victim in at Utah, he said, you know, we're a real small budget team. It's really he and his wife. And he said, that might be our season. And they just decided to get together and make it happen with a little help from Nissan, which is very nice. And they are here. And as you would expect, boy, did he have a great run, really qualifying it well on the grid.
Yeah, sitting back in 4th place for him in that Brass Monkey Racing Nissan. Got SPL parts that are helping him out with them as well, based here in Texas. So good to see all the local people come together to get Tony Rivera back on the grid. Another Nissan, you see that bright yellow number 16 there on the grid. That's Derek Kulak. Rick Kulak from Nissan North America, but Derek won the national championship in Sports Car Club of America. That earned him a free ride at a Pirelli World Challenge event. And he's here racing. Had some problems in the qualifying session, so he'll start at the back of this TC field. So 2 370Zs coming up through the ring. And you just saw Tony Rivera there getting nice and focused. And it's going to be exciting as you look back at our TCA leaders there, the front row with Eric Powell and Kenny Morello.
Boy, did he throw in Powell a lap during qualifying. It was incredibly closely bunched, and it looked like, okay, this is going to be a good fight. Kenny Morello was there. And then I was watching the monitor, and it came up, 1st sector, purple, fastest of all, 2nd sector, and I went, boy, if he can get this 3rd sector done, and he did it, and a margin that had been in the hundreds of seconds between Murillo, Goulart, Fosna, and those guys, 0.3 of a second for Powell in that Tech Sport Racing Scion. And then that team's doing pretty well as they swept the front row in Touring Car B between Kanan O'Connell and PJ Gronke, so they've got to be pretty pleased with how things are going.
And if you throw in Jake Peipel into that mix, there's only 5 points separating the top 3 in our TCB category for that season-long championship. So it's going to really, I think, come down to a battle between Kanan O'Connell and PJ Gronke. There's no team owners there. Tech Sport Racing, Kevin Anderson, he runs a great program, 5 cars strong here this weekend. It's a true family-run operation. Eric Powell's their lead pro driver, and he's putting it on the TCA pole. But they're individuals that are racing these cars. That basically they're their own programs within his team. So Kanan O'Connell, he wants to win. PJ Gronke, he wants to win. Team orders. Don't hit each other. Don't take each other out. But they're doing their own race.
Exactly. And they have raced very hard but clean, and that's a good thing. The command has been given down on the grid. This field comes to life. It is a sizable one. Some 48 cars are getting ready to go. And there you can see the little gap between the TCA field and the Touring Car B field. And this is the last season of Touring Car B and Pirelli World Challenge competition. And I'll tell you, you couldn't have gone out with some better competition, as you said, Jeff, with top 3 in points covered by 5, 2 teammates involved. Jake Pipal switching manufacturers in the middle of this points battle. This one's going to be fun, no question about it. And the field sets off. Of course, for the touring cars, first of the 2 races on a doubleheader weekend is a rolling start. Tomorrow, it will be a standing start. And the field right now making its way out. And we've got a brand new, starting in Utah, pace car program for the touring cars.
Yeah, that beautiful Honda Civic Si pacing the field now, and driven by, this time, Jonathan Somerton, GT racer there, stepping up to run this, as Scott Dollarheights, who our normal pace car driver, unable to make the call because he's competing this weekend at his home race in his Lotus Evora GT4 that you'll see competing in that GTS category here later today.
Yeah, just put in a great qualifying run, Scott did, so he will be starting up near the front of that GTS field. But our attention focused on the touring cars. Here's that first run into the S's. You go up that 133-foot climb into 1, drop down into turn 2, and then you start these S's. And you were talking about it, Jeff, but every one of these S's tightens up, tightens up, tightens up. Then you get into 8, 9, and that is a sort of a hook and go kind of scenario. And if you get behind a little bit early on, you literally have to just get out of it, get back on your line, because we watch people try and drive through that, and you just keep getting farther and farther off and slower and slower and slower. You got to have the discipline when you get behind in these S's to just check up, get back on line, and then get back on the throttle, right?
Yeah, and there's one of the corners right there that just, come down into turn number 9 that you talk about. It tightens up so much there. It's almost a left-hand 90-degree corner. You approach it at an angle, and if you turn in too late or too early, you can see you're way off to the side. You can see the skid marks where people have been so far out wide, and then you've got to be risky because you see some skid marks to the inside. You spin right down to the inside. Really a lot of runoff here. There's not a lot of places to hit on this track, so hopefully we won't see too much damage, or since a lot of runoff leaves rooms for mistakes. But here's that great backstretch coming out of turn number 11 and then down the straightaway here. 140, 145 miles an hour in our touring cars here down at the end of that straightaway to turn number 12.
Yeah, you mentioned it. 9, you'd think, okay, it's kind of a throwaway corner, just completed. No, because there's a fairly long, fast run from 9 to 11 here. You have a lot of those here where you come out of a tight turn into a section that's an important one for speed. None more important than getting out of 11 quickly. You see a lot of guys maybe get that run into 11 and just dive down to the inside, and then they're just slow coming out of it, and they'll get freight trained. And I mean, this straight has legs, and also now down to the end of it has some bumps.
It really does. Like you talk about that place from 9 to 11. I got a chance to take the Bentley Bentayga out during one of the hot lap sessions, and you hit that 9, you're flat out on the gas coming out of 9, and then there's a really nasty bump in 10, which is a left downhill on full pressure and compression flat out into the brakings on 11, so you still have your wheels turned as you're trying to brake. The car's bouncing, a lot of ABS problems in a lot of these street-based production cars.
Yeah, and you get in, there's a great sequence of corners here. It's 16, 17, 18, essentially a triple apex right-hander as you exit the stadium section. And all the drivers have been saying that at the exit of that turn, right on the line where you want to go, right as it starts to fall away badly off camber, there's a big bump too. So lots of challenges here. You see the lights are out on the safety car, and the field under instruction from race control to start packing it up just a little bit. And they've been really continuing that tire scrubbing a little longer than I think race control would like. But this track, it is abrasive on tires, so you do get buildup, and everybody's very concerned about that. And none more so than Greg Leafouge and that bright orange number 20 Stephen Cameron Racing BMW 235 IR, as he is wanting a good clean run up into 1, and he does not want that Audi that sits back in that 5th spot of Paul Holton, the number 71 orange and silver C360R Race Day Foundation machine, to get any kind of a run on him. All right, the Honda Civic safety car into pit lane. Field looking pretty good here, Jeff, as they set up into turn 20. Of course, during restarts, and now they're into the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone for a rolling start. Leafouge has a little bit of a nose ahead. Field looks good, and we are green. 40 minutes of competition, 9th round of the Pirelli World Challenge Championship. Look at them fanning out. Look at Holton right down the center, trying something here. Boy, and Leafouge went into protect mode early.
And Tony Rivera going to stick it right to the outside. He'll run way wide there. Didn't think that was going to stick. He's going to lose about 3 or 4 positions. But Gregory Leafouge, Matt Travis able to go to second with Nick Whitmer. And Carl Whitmer, he saw him in that Fuse Honda Accord stuck out on the straightaway. He lost some positions down there. And
that's pole sitter in touring car A. Powell into the pits. At the end of the pace lap, Leafouge leads from Nick Whitmer. Travis slots into third. It looks like, did Grahovic get up and around? I think he did. Yeah, when Tony ran wide, so the defending champion has actually been able to pick up a spot right there in that 4th position. I think that's Grahovic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
Number 1 on the side of that touring car. And you see the the Audi of Paul Holton has to get some clean air. You see the aero bits that Audi has, little wide body, the front splitter, the big wing that sticks out through the back of the window. It advantages his clean air. He's got to get some clean air to make that car work.
And Rivera under attack right now as well. Uh-oh, a couple of cars off. The 28.
Nimkoff and
the 19.
Let's see if we can see. Here's the incident right here.
That's Ari Balo, yeah.
Here.
Ooh. Yep. 3 cars involved. Looked like one of the Genesis Coupes. I think maybe the 75 was the car that of Dan Hanovich was involved in it, but he was able to drive off.
Yeah, looks like Ari Below, unfortunately, was a victim there, sitting on the inside, and has a car come back across them. So going to full course yellow, just getting word from race control, those cars unable to continue. It was a pretty hit. I'm sure there's some suspension damage there, and the cars cannot move.
Yeah, this is a track where oftentimes you'll see races go no full course cautions at all because of that big runoff you were talking about. But there's a couple of spots, and when you just have car contact, and there's Nimkoff, and he's the one clearly with the damage to that left front corner, but it looks like the right side is the one that may be broken and down on that car. You know what? I think had Rivera not carried quite so much speed up into turn 1, that outside move, I think he could have come out second or third. He just got in a little bit too fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little too deep there. Not a lot of grip. The track is still fresh from this morning. There's only been 2 other sessions on before this, and so that really pushed all those marbles to the outside. Yeah. Had this been the first morning session, or you had a chance to really get the feel for it, but you can see all the buildup on the outside of the track right there. Just not enough grip, but great move.
Yeah, great idea. I think in theory it was fantastic with a great opportunity, but just a little bit too much speed trying to carry it up in there. And the guy that's right behind him is number 80, Anthony Magagnoli, and he's been pushing Tony pretty hard as Holton has he's gone around Holton. Holton has slipped back into 7th. Mason Filippi in the number 12 is 8th. The 18 is Steven Sajik is 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Rodrigo Salas in the number 8 BMW. Then that 99 Carl Whitmer Honda Sunrose Fuse Honda Accord sits in the 11th spot. Going back into the touring car A category, Elvin Goulart up into who had qualified in the 3rd spot. Jeff has gone. He just seems to be able. He has a nose for the lead at the end of the opening lap. All season last year, he may not have qualified on pole, but somehow he led at the end of that opening lap. Kenny Murillo second. A good launch for Tom O'Gorman, sitting now 3rd.
I believe started back in the 7th place, now up to 3rd. So Tom O'Gorman able to move up into the podium position in that TCA category. And the cooler temperatures here this morning is really going to help that Honda Civic Si. Of course, that's the turbocharged version of the Honda Civic platform. So the cooler air temperature, more boost, more power. He's right up there excited and look for his teammate Shea Holbrook to start moving up as well. But devastating and heartbreak for Eric Powell, though, sitting on the pole. The team had a alternator problem, didn't get any testing, really got limited practice. You mentioned, Greg, how great he did on that pole lap, but it looks like I saw the hood. They were playing with the fuse box, still having electrical gremlins in that Scion FRS. Had an engine change for Dan Williams in his Scion FRS through that team as well, so I don't believe he even made the call to the grid. So devastating for that Tech Sport Racing team.
Well, those cars clearly are fast, but right now they're a bit finicky and struggling with that a little bit. And of course, whenever you take a stock showroom car, try and turn it into a race car, and you've got all those codes buried in the ECUs and all the management issues, it could be a real challenge to get them to work. And this is going to be interesting to see here now with Rivera as he sits in 5th, and a couple of cars back is Holton. And Holton is on a mission to get to the front, and he and Rivera have, at Utah Motorsports Campus. That little bit of contact there frustrated Tony, I'm sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as this battle comes to the fore.
Yeah, I think Tony will be watching his mirrors down there in turn number 1 to make sure there's not an orange and silver Audi coming down to his inside. Looking back to our TCB, it was, I believe, Kanan O'Connell getting around PJ Gronke. So PJ up into the lead. Kanan leading. His teammate was the way they qualified. Jake Pipel, though, able to move up to 3rd from that 5th starting place. So that championship, 1, 2, 3, and they're running 1, 2, 3 in TCB. So it's going to really come down to the wire. Only 5 points. Good run there from Anthony Maganoli. He's really come on strong in that Rooster Hall Racing FCP Euro BMW this season. Had some growing pains, obviously, with a brand new team coming over from club racing into pro racing, but has adapted to this Pirelli World Challenge format really good. He's always been near the top of the field in the second half of the season.
Yeah, he's really evolved nicely. And another guy who's been on form at virtually every race is that number 12, Mason Filippi, that multicolored entry, currently running in the 8th spot. He's always right in the hunt.
And then winning at Lime Rock, too, getting his debut in the touring car category with a win. So good job for him from Winding Road Racing and TFB Racing. So good job to see them developing all these programs. And I think this BMW platform that we talk about, this is M235i Racing, has allowed some of these drivers that have done some other forms of motorsport move into Pirelli World Challenge, into this pro format. And it's a car that you can race on multiple levels. It's legal for club racing now. It's legal in the Pirelli World Challenge touring car category. It's legal for the BMW Club of America races that they do. So it really gives not only the resale value better, but it helps racing and be able to give yourself more opportunities. And we see some of these guys that are just starting, but they have a year of track days and a year of knowledge of these places, and they come into a Pirelli World Challenge event, and they're right near the top of the field with the veterans.
Well, seat time is seat time, and if it doesn't really matter where you're getting it, if you're up against some good competition. We know there is stout competition in some of these club racing series, and it really is nice to see. Also good to see the number 5 at John Weisberg out and running. They had a big problem. They've just been fighting engine issues and losing engines tightening up and the like. And he said, we're just absolutely confused. He said, because the same guy that did our engines last year, they were bulletproof, this year there's something just not right, and they're really struggling to figure it out. When he runs, of course, he's plenty quick, and he's up there right now, up into the 14th spot after spending a large part of the early part of this weekend with he and crew members underneath that car working on it. Kind of surprised to see the 009 of Jason Kupal outside of that top 10 right now. He's been somebody who's been pretty quick this year. But again, it's one of those very aero-dependent Audis, and you don't get that clean lap in qualifying, it's going to hurt.
And then if you're marred back in the field, it's going to kill you too, because you're not getting that air in that front nose, getting it planted, able to turn through these corners. That car is going to excel in the first half of the track due to all the aero downforce it has, and then that final little segment stadium around the big tower they have here at Circuit of the Americas where it shines. It's going to hurt a little bit in the straightaway, and it's really going to hurt them tomorrow come the standing start with that front wheel drive.
Yeah, so Paul's got to get a really stout lap in at some point during this race, because as always, it's your fast lap in race 1 on the weekend that establishes where you start in race 2. So you might actually see Paul, depending upon where he is, kind of back off for a little bit, create a gap, and then really try and throw a lap in so we can start a little bit farther toward the front. And you're right about that aero. When that car is fat in it, the speed up to where he's got that aero effective, and he gets into those quick transition areas, that thing's magic. It's sad to see. The number 19, Ari Belo, also broken to the extent, so both of those cars had to be hauled off the track. So that's why this caution has eaten up a little bit more time than we would like. But if we can get going here in fairly short order, we've still got the better part of a half hour of racing to go here.
A lot of turnoffs on this track as well, so once there is an incident, they can get clear pretty quickly and get the car off the track. You don't have to basically drive all the way around the facility to get back to the paddock area. Going back to the TCB battle, man, I think it's sad to see the touring car B-spec cars going away next year, but it's one of those that, the entries have been a little bit low. It's an entry-level form of motorsports, and I think with a little bit of a better economy, cars are getting a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. The guys that are running those category cars want to move up a little bit more, and they want to be in the faster categories of cars. And it's a good decision by the WC Vision staff with Pirelli World Challenge, and I think it's going to help help grow the TCA category as well with touring car. And then we'll see that new TCI International platform that we've seen here with the Audi RS3 LMS. Hopefully some new platforms in that category of car coming into Pirelli World Challenge. It's just exciting times for the future of not only motorsport and Pirelli World Challenge racing, but also the touring car categories going forward.
Well, and you've got that special connection to touring car B, a former winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
World Challenge competition.
Go down in the record books always.
Exactly.
I'm trying to find a ride for Laguna Seca, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca coming up. So, Dean Case, if you guys still have a Mazda 2 laying around, I think it would be a pretty good deal come Saturday for the race event there at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca to see an old has-been, washed-up, overweight driver come out and see what he can do in TCB spec. Let's really shake up the championship.
I'd
right?
pay to see that. So, I'll tell you what here. It looks like we're going to have to do one more lap under caution here, but they should have that fairly well tidied up by the time this field gets up past that incident zone. So hopefully we'll be going to green next time through as you get a good look there at the 24. And of course that is Kanan O'Connell currently leading this race, as you said, right in the thick of the points battle, and made his debut in the series at Utah, I think, last year, and was able to put together a program. They weren't sure, he and his dad, and yes, his dad is Johnny O'Connell, so he's got some pretty good racing genes. They weren't sure if they'd be able to do a full season here. Well, he came out of the box and was right on pace. Was wicked quick, and so they've been able to make that program be a full season one, and good call that, because he's in with a shot at a championship.
Hopefully we'll see him again next year, of course, with the TCB category going away. He'll be one of those drivers that can move up. I do know that the Tech Sport Racing team on 370Z to get prepped, and saw that on the social media, getting that going. So good to see that team, so that we'll have a touring car in their stables here next year.
Right.
So imagine the career path of Kanan O'Connell. Johnny O'Connell, the Nissan 300 ZXs with Millen Racing.
Yeah.
Moving his way up. Kanan O'Connell starting with Nissan again into a touring car. I think history might repeat itself. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
How cool would that be? And the interesting thing is, in that touring car B-Spec Tech Sport team, behind the wheel of those two cars, and Kanan and PJ, you've got two of the nicest human beings. They are just such great guys. And you have to root for them. You can't but help it. And it'll be nice to see what's going to happen as they move up through the ranks, as you point out. Got absolute confirmation from race control. We are going green at this time by. You can see the lights are out on the Honda Civic pace car and safety vehicle. Official vehicle for the Pirelli World Challenge touring cars. That's a good looking field right there. That's a great shot. And you see that it's not really completely straight, and it certainly isn't completely level. It's you're just kind of undulating, is a way to put it, all the way down that back straight.
Then you undulate right here in the braking zone, and you can actually see that on the screen. You see it's darker rubber, lighter rubber, darker rubber, lighter rubber, and those are the bumps that these cars are hitting, and that's really confusing the ABS a lot. So what you'll do, instead of normally when you go into a brake corner and you stomp on the brake pedal all the way to the ABS as hard as you can, here you're rolling into the brake pedal to make the computer kind of catch up with all the bumps and the undulations at the speed these cars are going. So we don't want an ABS failure doing 145 miles an hour into that braking zone in turn number 12.
No, it's got runoff there, but still, that is one spooky scenario for sure. All right, field now getting ready to head into the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone.
That's my favorite section of track right there, that big stadium area. You come in slow, triple apex left-hander into this long four-corner right-hander. Reminds me of the Istanbul circuit in Turkey in Formula One, just loaded all the way through, and the good guys can do that whole corner flat right through here all the way around on a quadruple apex right-hander.
It's fun to watch for sure. Well, that's one of the things about this track. It was designed by Herman Tilke to sort of follow and mirror some of the great corners from different tracks around the world, and that section was absolutely patterned after the Istanbul Turn 8. That stadium section, Hockenheim. And here we go. Onto the front straight. Back to green flag in the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. And the green flag, the restarts and checker come at the earlier flag station. Only the start is the one that's a little bit farther down that front straightaway. And look at this, protecting to the inside is Leafouche, and Whitmer trying to do the over-under. Can he get it done? I don't think so. Boy, I'll tell you, Leafouche had that car planted exactly where Whitmer wanted to go, and I'll tell you, that just tells you the quality of driver that we have, even in the touring cars here, is at the sharp end of this. These guys are superb.
He did a great job, and Leafouge was allowed to do that. You can place your car where you want to. He didn't deviate back and forth to try to block. It was Nick Whitmer's job to try to find a different place to get him, and you did. You see him went way wide trying to do the over-under. It did not work. Great driving by both of those guys.
Absolutely. Right behind them, Matt Travis. So far able to fend off his teammate and the defending class champion, Toby Grahovic. Matt in that black and white classic BMW M235 IR, Toby in the red one right behind, then Magagnoli right behind him, and then Holton. And right in the middle of those two, Rivera. So, wow, Holton has not been able to pick up a spot, but he was able to squeeze past here. That's important.
See them come down that braking zone. Leafouge protecting to the inside just a little bit. Nick Whitmer is going to shallow it up a little bit, try to see if he can get a good run coming out of the corner and go back to the inside. He looks a little bit, but then you're stuck on the outside here in this long right-hander 90-degree corner, hard on the brakes. It's just the way they see these cars set up. Here's that beautiful stadium section right on the other side of the shot where the camera's from. It's full grandstands wrapping all the way around this complete complex. It's a great place to come watch any of the motorsports to compete here at Circuit of the Americas. But Nick Whitmer really hounding Greg Leafouge. We saw Leafouge pull away at Utah really unchallenged, and we haven't really seen him be pushed now. And I think with Nick Whitmer, Matt Travis, and Toby Grahovic still in this fray, we'll see if Leafouge can hang on.
Well, it's going to be interesting, too, because this track is known to be pretty abrasive on tires. That caution, when we went back to green at about 25 to go, I think these Pirelli P0s now, you could probably push them a lot harder, not having that extra 10 minutes of racing on these tires. And Whitmer has decided he's going to do exactly that. And boy, he is once again right behind Leafouge, up to the top. And you can see Whitmer darts to the outside, trying once again. Now he's going to try and cut underneath, and watch Leafouge. He floats a little wide. Whitmer had an opportunity, Jeff. Can he make it stick? No.
Yeah, just not enough momentum there to come to the outside. The track actually falls off to the right there, so if you can stick it to the right, you got to watch out for those track limits. You can't put 4 tires over that gator strip, but if you hit it just perfectly, what Greg Lee does, it gives you that momentum on the outside down the hill into turn number 2.
Well, you can see Whitmer tried to get Leafouge a little bit off his rhythm there, and Leafouge absolutely just too good for that. Just was able to get right back into rhythm and push it here up into turn 8, turn 9. Oh, and Rivera has dropped off a little bit behind Magagnoli. You can see there's Magagnoli in that white and teal car, then a sizable gap now to Rivera and Holton right behind him. Turn 11. You've got to get out of turn 11. So incredibly strong. Any bobble there, if somebody's close behind you, you're absolute toast. And here we go. Whitmer close enough to get a serious toe on Leafouge right now. See if he's able to do anything down into 12. Leafouge protecting right down the center of the track. Whitmer going back to the normal racing line. See what he can do here.
See the left, the rear of that car just dancing a little bit, going back to the inside, trying for the over-under. Just really does not set you up. And Nick Whitmer doing a good job trying to battle with Leafouge, but also watching those mirrors to make sure when he does go wide, Matt Travis doesn't stuff it down there on the inside and take over that second position.
Boy, and look at Whitmer. He was thinking, boy, if I could surprise him here. It just wasn't quite close enough. It'll be an interesting dynamic, won't it, at this stage? Because you've got behind the 2 leading BMWs, one from Stephen Cameron Racing, one from ST Racing. Then you've got 2 from Classic BMW. And, ooh, wiggle there from Whitmer. He is pushing so hard, Jeff.
And we've seen him drive that Honda Accord last season loose as it could be, so he's got no problem driving a car loose like that with the rear end dancing around. He likes to call it making the rear sing is what he says. So he says if it starts to scream, I'm in trouble, but if I can make it sing, I'm doing okay. Trying to get that draft down into turn number 1. Greg Leafouge sticks to the outside this time, not protecting the inside. Got a good run out of turn number 20 onto the straightaway. Does not have to protect down to the inside. And I got to think as Greg Leafouge's been the man so far for the last couple of rounds here in touring car. Looks like Tony Rivera, Magagnoli able to close back onto this lead groove. Might be holding up this pack a little bit.
Well, that could very well be. I mean, certainly Whitmer seems to have some pretty good pace. And seems to be able to at least catch him, run him down and catch him pretty much at will. And it's the old proverb, though, or adage, isn't it? Catching him's one thing, getting around is another. And when you've got a driver with the racecraft and savvy of a Greg Leafouge, a bit tougher job.
And you can really see how much of the bump was there in turn number 5, where the cars are bottoming out, and then back up ahead is back to our TCA leader, Elevon Goulart, Kenny Morello, and then Matthew Fosnot back there in 3rd. And Goulart just driving around in that SAC Racing Mazda MX-5 Global Cup car. As you see the number 36, I believe that's Sajak. Or is that Cheaton? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just on Pironic, I think.
Yeah, Pironic. Oh, man, just frustrating for him. It looks like Travis Wache as well. So not sure if there was some contact back with those guys, but in that E-Euro Parts Audi, slow on the pace there out of turn number 8.
Birthday weekend for Travis. So nice to have him here. Look at this. PJ Gronke trying to get down underneath Kanan O'Connell, and he is through. The two of them so close. Or is he? Kanan fighting for that inside line down into turn 2, and he's able to come right back by. Can PJ stick out there? No, he's got to tuck back in again. But there you have it. As close quarters, intense racing as you can get, but loaded with respect.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that pass there. PJ had the inside. I don't think PJ pushed him out to the outside, but Kanan just kept his foot on it and wanted to see if there's any violations of track limits there on that pass. But boy, Nick Whitmer eating up that rear bumper of Gregory Leafouge.
Chewing on it, isn't he? Without actually contacting it, but he is certainly letting him know he's there. That's a very good point. You know, that track limit deal is if you're pushed out, you're okay. If you just float out and use it to carry more speed as an advantage, that can raise the certainly the attention and the eyebrows of race control. We'll see what happens. But boy, I'll tell you, this is such a good battle here. Whitmer turns in, squares it a little bit, tries to get to the throttle. This is as close as he's been on the bumper coming out of 20. And Leafouge realizes it right to the middle of the track.
Yeah, forces him to go. You can see the difference between the last lap when Leafouge got a good run out of 20. He didn't have to protect that inside. Nick Whitmer now trying to see if, once again, can he do that over-under here down to the inside. He decides not right now. Let me just get a good run and try to stay with him through the S's this time.
By the way, you're right. Apparently contact between the 30 of Wache and the 36 of Pironic. It is now under review. Something flailing at the back of the right rear corner of Whitmer's car. Ooh, big wiggle there by Leafouge. He's feeling the pressure, Jeff.
Yeah, not sure what's dragging on the right rear, Greg, that you just mentioned before, but it looks like a little inner fender liner, I believe, or a body panel there. Don't believe that's too much to worry about. Although if you're Matt Travis's team, you're on the radio saying there's a dangerous piece of bodywork flying off.
Exactly.
He needs to be black flag, bring him in. So they'll be lobbying for that, I'm sure, with Toby Grohovic. Don't count on Anthony Maganoli either there. Your top 5 right down into the braking zone at turn number 11.
Yeah, right now, BMW top 5, Nissan in 6th. Audi in 8th. That's kind of how it sits there. Goes to Nissan, the 34.
5 manufacturers in the
there
top
you go.
10. Not bad with all the BMWs we have.
And the number 16 of Derek Kulak, by the way, the other Nissan that started dead last, up to 22nd overall right now. So having a good charge through the field. Whitmer again getting a little run down into 12. There's a look at Tony Rivera, who's been able to open that margin up just a little bit. And there's your point leader, Paul Holton, in that FAF Automotive C360R Race Day Foundation Audi. And as you pointed out, Jeff, he just does not have the pace right now. And I wonder, he's let that gap build a little bit up to Filippi. I wonder if he's thinking, I got to get a little room here and just try and throw in something for a lap right now. Whitmer has fast lap so far, which would put him on pole for tomorrow's race at a 2:26.878. Holton right now's best lap is a 2:27.335.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate because I can look at the front end of that car and it doesn't have a lot of grip there. He's really pushing out, so the setup on that car is just not right, or it fell off, or we're not sure if there was some damage or some impacts here at the beginning of the race. But Paul Holton's going to have to put his head down to get a lap. He's going to still be marred back in this field for tomorrow's race.
Well, and being it is, look at this, as Whitmer is through. I was wondering, he had a run down into turn 12. It looked like it was a solid run. And apparently he was able to make it work somewhere, so he is into the lead. I think you're right. I think that's just a little piece of underline or whatever that's come off that car. But he's on point, so now Leafouge gets to watch and follow for a little bit here. And he's got to pay close attention because he's got Travis right there as well. Still, that group of 5 at the front is pretty close. So Whitmer just playing pitch and catch right now.
Just that bump, the way they hit that on the exit of the left-hander, and then turn number 5, and the car bottoms out and then comes back again. But as it's coming back again, you're braking and turning for the right-hander of turn number 6 before you get into 7, 8, and 9. So it's just a busy time and a busy complex now. Now we'll see with Whitmer being out front, can he stretch that lead over Leafuge? Was he being held up or not? Your top 5 less than a second apart from each other when they crossed the line last time. That's how close it is battling here in touring car. Nick Whitmer through the braking zone at turn number 12 onto this front stretch. Leafuge in second, Travis in third, Grahovic big sideways coming onto the straightaway. Can Anthony Maganoli in that FCP Euro BMW get a run coming down the straightaway and move into that 4th position?
Well, just under 15 to go, so still plenty of racing. And watching Whitmer now, he is really throwing that car around. He's got to be a little careful about not running those Pirelli P0s, as great as they are, off. Temperature right now about 85 degrees already, so track starting to warm up. As you have a look here at the number 70 of defending TCA champion Elevan Goulart in that SAC Racing Mazda. That's the Global MX5 Cup car in the SCDA machine, and he has gone to the front, Jeff, and he's actually been able to open the margin up a little bit over Kenny Murillo, who was wicked quick on his debut at Utah.
He was, and actually with the penalty coming from Eric Powell in that Tech Sport Racing, that moved him from second to first on the podium, so able to get his first Pirelli World Challenge win. Didn't quite get the celebration of being the winner, but a win is nonetheless with the prize money contingency from Mazda, as well as getting up that first place trophy. So he's a great addition into this championship, and showing that he can be right at the point of the field.
Yeah, and that team, of course, fields cars in a number of different categories and championships. Ken Murillo, the owner, former national champion, and his son Kenny is a wheelman, no question. Going back just a little bit, good little scrap here in the touring car A category. Zed O'Gorman having a really good battle here.
Yeah, Jeff Sexton down here into the braking zone. It's good to see.
That was intimidation after intimidation move, wasn't it?
They've stayed off of each other so far, so we'll see. And Jeff Sexton had a huge incident at, I believe it was Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and he was able to get that car fixed. Not fixed, a new chassis. And returning back here in that Winding Road Racing. Of course, Winding Road based right here in Austin, Texas. So good to see a local sponsor on this car in the field.
Boy, O'Gorman coming out of 14 and into 15, squared that up beautifully, got a great run. It looked like Sexton had a little bobble, and it looked like O'Gorman was going to be able to have a shot. Boy, Tom, look at him rotate that, tries that, wants to get down to the inside. Oh, and Sexton way, way wide, and he was not forced off there at all.
Yeah, I'm sure Dorsey Strader, Brian Sill, they'll be looking at that very, very closely as, you know, had he had to stay on track limits, he would have had to have lifted a little bit, and that would have let O'Gorman get by him. So I know they're talking to him and all, and they're giving warnings, and if you do it more than once or twice, it's a drive-through penalty or a pit stop or a time there, as you see. The same thing we saw in the BMW in the lead of the TC. O'Gorman making his arch nice and wide, but way sideways there, puts his foot down on that front-wheel drive car, straightens it back out, but lost all that momentum to Jeff Sexton.
That's the one thing. It's so inviting, you know, either way up there, but if you're on the outside, it does get some pickup, and you've got to modulate that speed just a bit. And he just got in there, it looked like just a tick too quick, but Tomo, as he is known, is up on the wheel trying to get back around Sexton. This is a great scrap. And what makes this so fun is that this is for 4th in class. This is the quality of racing we have in the touring cars.
It really is, and you're looking back here, and they're going to do everything they can to try to battle. Tom O'Gorman is trying to go for this TCA championship. He just misses turn number 9 there, has to go down to the inside. Gonna have to get those tires cleaned off. This is that downhill turn 10 I was telling you about, where the big bumps are coming through the exit. As you're flat out there, there's no lifting, there's no braking coming down that hill into the hard braking zone at turn number 11.
Up front, Whitmer into the lead, and he's stretched it to 0.6 of a second. And then another little gap now back to Matt Travis sitting in 3rd. And in touring car B, continuing to see that great battle between O'Connell and Gronke. Although that margin now up to just over a second, so Kanan's kind of got a handle on things. But look at this in touring car A, Kenny Murillo, who was well back of Goulart, has been able to get himself into the lead. But Elevan coming back at him in that green and black number 70.
Well, Elevon, you see him go to the brakes a little bit earlier, trying to square the car up, get a good run off the corner. Kenny Morello here trying to earn that first place podium now. He wants to be on that top step. Elevon Goulart going to battle back now, and they start battling back and forth. You're going to see Matthew Fosnot, their teammate, come right up into the battle for third. Now make this a 3-car battle for the lead.
Wow, look at Goulart able to pinch to the inside. Now he's going to come up underneath Murillo. Beautiful move. Can he make it stick? It's a matter of who can out deep in, and Murillo just carried enough speed. He was able to control it, floating a little wide. Behind him, Fosnot has reeled these guys back in as well.
Yeah, when those two guys are going to start battling back and forth like that, with the touring car A cars being so close together in the performance of this global MX-5 Cup car, it really is going to show, as you see.
Ooh, bit of a moment there.
Blake Thompson.
Yeah, it's a big spin. One nice thing about the touring car B is when they spin quick, and then they're done.
Or they roll.
Or they roll.
And flip down the hill.
So, well, this one, he got away with it. Now Murillo able to open that margin up just a smidge. Oh, look at this. Leofauge coming back on Whitmer. He's got that nose there, Jeff. He could have the inside. He's going to make it work.
Wow, kept it to the outside. Now Nick Whitmer's trying, but nope, he got pushed out there and had to give way.
Yep.
Gregory Leofauge back to the lead, and what a brilliant outside pass. Just kept his foot in it, got the grip that he needed, and that gave him the inside down there into that stadium complex, turn 13, 14, and 15.
They've opened up that margin just a little bit as Magagnoli looks like he has gone from 5th into 3rd behind this group. So we're watching Whitmer. He's doing everything he can, but watch the next car. If that frame opens up a little bit. Obviously pretty intense on this battle here.
And look at Gregory Leofauge pull away from the exit of 20. You saw the gloves of Whitmer moving back and forth coming onto the straightaway, and he lost that little bit of momentum. But yeah, you're right there, Greg. Anthony Magagnoli into 3rd, gets around Travis and Grahovic. Travis was 3rd, back to 5th. So great job in that Rooster Hall Racing BMW for Magagnoli into that podium spot in touring car.
8 minutes left in this 9th round of the Touring Car Championship. It's here. And then the season finale out at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in September. That's it. So this is huge. And right now, Holton stays back in 8th. And if Leofauge can hang on to the win, he's once again going to claim a sizable difference in terms of points here. And of course, for Holton and that team, that Audi, just by the design and all of its aero bits and components, it does carry a little bit more weight. So I think Paul might have to be a little bit more cautious with these tires as well. And doing a really, really nice job, but still struggling.
Very struggling. It would be ideal to see the battle for the season-long championship right now. I believe in the TCA category is going to be between those two teammates running 2nd and 3rd, Goulart versus Fosnot. Man, if Kenny Morello could have ran the whole year here since the beginning, it'd be amazing to see where he was at this session. But Fosnot, fastest so far of those 3 this last time by. We'll see if he can reel him in as he's got him up there now. He's within striking distance of sort of that rabbit chasing the carrot sitting in front of him. And I kind of think when you see that and you're able to start closing in, it gives you that extra little bit of confidence to do that as he's right on the back of his teammate now.
You've also always got to be mindful of those fast laps and the like. And right now, that's Murillo at a 2:36.020. Looks to be the fast lap in the Touring Car A division. And that would place him in pretty good stead for tomorrow's race. Up through the S's. So watching Kenny straight lines one of those S's a little bit, but it really then gets him a little bit wide going into the next one.
You saw Goulart close the gap there.
Yeah.
When Goulart's car was already rotated for that corner and Kenny was straight. So I'm sure he'll see that. His crew will see that, and they'll start radioing to him and say, hey, you need to protect a little bit more there in that S's. You don't want to have him get a run on you as he looks down to the inside to protect that line down into turn number 11.
Well, and Fosnot's there. This is the proverbial blanket covering these 3 right now. Oh, this is great stuff. Great stuff. Oh, and boy, did Goulart get a run. Got a great drive out of 11. Murillo drifted over, took the spot he wanted. I don't think that was really in reaction. Now he's got to stay put, though. Goulart is he gonna go inside or outside, Jeff?
I don't think he's going to do. Yeah, I was going to say. I think he's going to do the dummy here. He'll stay to the outside and then back to the inside. He did that just to perfection.
Oh, and he's
all
on the
over
brakes
the
hard.
ABS down to the inside. Can he make it stick? And Wow, Kenny gave him some great room. Elevon Goulart gave him room. They didn't have to do that. Here goes Fosnot back to the outside. He's going to try to look inside and outside as well. This is the battle of the race right now in TCA.
You kidding me? 3 abreast into 13? This is awesome stuff. Oh, and Goulart's got that inside here. Is he going to be able to do it? Oh, nice job by Murillo. And Goulart again gave him the room. This is great racing. I love the respect we're seeing between these guys. It's like, you've earned that piece of racetrack. I'll give it to you, but I'm not going to make it easy.
And this is a battle for the championship. You got to think Goulart, you think leading the championship. Why does he want to go up here and battle for the win? Because he's got the guy that's second in the championship, his teammate, right on his heels. If he doesn't make a move, Fosnot will.
That's exactly it. It's, you know, really the points battle is the guys second and third right now. And Murillo is the spoiler at this stage. Boy, I'll tell you, what a great lap. That was one of the best laps of racing we've seen this season. Even though there wasn't officially a position change in that lap, that was amazing racing.
And it was amazing to see the difference in the lap times, too, compared to their best laps versus the last lap. They're about 2 seconds of a lap slower than their best lap so far for the race. And that's just a testament to how the close in the battling that they're doing that and holding each other up. But it's such a great battle as they open those gaps a little bit coming down the hill now.
And this is huge for Goulart. Fosnot leads the championship right now by my 11 points, as you pointed out. So, I mean, yeah, Goulart needs everything. And if he could get around Murillo, that's another 2-point swing. That would be huge. And what he doesn't want to do is make the pass on Murillo, but get Murillo so far off rather than that Fosnot comes right with him as well. So this is that chess we're talking about. It's what move do I make that gets me through and parks the guy behind me. As we say that, here's that battle in Touring Car B between the two teammates.
It still is O'Connell over PJ Gronke. You see Derek Kulak right behind him in that Nissan 370Z, making his foray into pro racing here in his debut in the Pirelli World Challenge, going right to the outside of the TCB leaders, trying to make sure he doesn't hold up their race a little bit, knowing that it is their first race. That's just Derek getting some practice for the runoffs as his T3 Nissan 370Z championship car gets to race with the TCB cars there at Indianapolis Motor Speedway a little bit later.
Well, he's doing a nice job after starting dead last, now up almost into the top 20 in a 48 car field. Not too bad. And ooh, PJ getting hurt a little bit there as Jorgensen kind of gets into the mix, but he swings out quickly and he might end up holding up. No, Kanan not really going to get affected too much here. And so these two continue. White flag, by the way, for Leofoge next time by. And then Stephen Cameron Racing BMW 235 IR. And there it is. This is now down into 11, so about in a half lap we'll be on our final lap, Jeff. Oh, that may have been it right there.
Yeah, I don't think Nick's going to have enough time to recover from that. And then just that one little quick tank slapper there. He fought it. The car actually got the grip and caught once it hit the... There is Matthew Fosnot to the inside of Goulart. Oh, and Elevon Goulart kind of turned the car, had no grip. They snapped back from him. A great save, but there's no way he's going to be able to battle back up for second now as the points leader Fosnot getting around your 2016 champ in TCA and the team boss there and our lead driver with Goulart.
What a huge development there. And look at that. Nice job by Shea Holbrook. They knew the two leaders were coming up on her and just drove way offline to let them through, not impede them at all. So kudos to Shea as she is now in the Touring Car A category, running with her teammate Tom O'Gorman. And here we go through that triple apex right-hander, exit of 18, and the white flag awaits. And it looked like Whitmer, as you talked about it, coming out of 11, it hooked. And then he skated, and then they've got those three big sort of big orange curbs that sit out there. Once he got on top of those, it just massively unsettled the car.
Yeah, he lost all that momentum down the straightaway. And I believe they're just going to run out of time enough to, he might catch Gregory, but then to try to battle with him to get that pass. You know, we say all the time, catching someone's a lot different than trying to pass someone. As they battle for touring car coming down to the wire here at the end. I gotta believe it's gonna be Leofoge barring a problem. Nick Whitmer and Maganoli into second. Great run for him. But boy, Kenny Murillo able to hold off the battle from Goulart, and I gotta think Goulart just probably drove it off a little bit there, trying to keep up with him and battle for that lead. Fosnot getting around him in the championship, and Kanan O'Connell has really controlled this race except for once over PJ Gronke.
It's been intense racing in every category here. Up to the S's for the final time goes Leofauge. Chased hard by Whitmer. You know, Whitmer's going to throw everything at it he possibly can. He's got a little bit of room now, about 2.5 seconds back to Magagnoli, so he can just focus forward. But one of the things that Leofauge is so adept at is management. You know, he always, at the end of a race, he's got car left if he needs it. He's got tires. He's got it working, and he's doing a superb job right now.
And you saw him once he got and lost that lead to Whitmer, he was putting all of his tires right where they needed to be, making his apex, trying to see where he could nail him back on. And I think he knew that he had a good car coming out that outside pass there in turn number 13 to make the move and picking that up.
All right, down at the end of the long back straight into turn 12. This key braking zone. Whitmer's made up a little bit of ground, but nowhere near enough at this stage. He's going to need a little bit of help. There you see Magagnoli has opened up enough of a margin over Toby Grahovic. He's in a fairly comfortable position right now. Tony Rivera, unfortunately, has slipped back one, but Holton has dropped to 10th, so that's big development as well in terms of points. That's another 3 positions in that consequential point swing. He was in 7th, now he's 10th with Leofauge winning. This is getting more and more intense here. Leofauge through 18 into the very tricky turn 19. Negotiates that with absolutely no issues at all. Here we go, final turn. Onto the front straight. Stephen Cameron Racing, Greg Leofauge, and BMW win at Circuit of the Americas. And Leofauge, with Whitmer behind him, is going to be able to close in even more from his second spot in the points. What a run. It is a top 6 for BMW here. What a day for BMW and touring car. Here's the battle. Look at this. Elevin Goulart has been able to run Fosnot back down. Murillo's up the road. He's fairly clean. He's going to be coming up on the back of Gronke. But again, this battle between these two teammates, this is points. Goulart trying to get a little bit better drive out of 11. I think he did. Ooh. I don't know. Fosnot was signaling him, and I think he was signaling him, get back behind me and maybe we can make a run. But Goulart's thinking, look, I know you're a customer of mine, but we're both in this for the championship. We're not going to catch Murillo. So now Goulart makes the move. Fosnot going with him. Oh, they are so close down into the turn. Fosnot, Goulart. What's going to happen here? They're still side by side. Goulart has the nose ahead, but Fosnot has the inside. Side by side again through 13. Oh, and Goulart way wide at the exit of 13, but he's got some speed. He's got the inside. He's through. Or is he? Fosnot now coming back. Exit of turn number 15. He's got the nose inside heading into this triple apex right-hander. But Goulart has run a wide line through here and been able to carry some speed. Can he do it again to the point he'll have the inside? No, Fosnot shuts the door. Goulart, oh, he's got a straight line to the apex. Fosnot, better exit speed through 19. Side by side they go. Points implications huge. Goulart still to the inside down into turn number 20. Goulart completely sideways. Tries to go to throttle, can't hang on to it. And Fosnot through for second and expands that points lead. Wow. What a run. You can see Murillo celebrating understandably, but what an incredible run for these two, the teammates. Fosnot a customer. Here it is again. Goulart trying so hard, and that happened before there was no contact. He just got hung out, was able to save it, which was pretty impressive considering the momentum he had in the rotation. He gave it his all, but Fosnot will open it up by a couple of points. That margin, by my very always questionable math, going from 11 to 13 now for Fosnot up front. And for this man, the 20 of Leofauge with Holton at the line officially in 10th. He's taken another big chunk of points away. He came in at I think, just to make sure on this, a 31-point deficit, so that's going to close up substantially. So Leofauge doing everything he can here, winning once again his 3rd straight win while Holton has been struggling. Whitmer second. What a drive by Nick. And Anthony Magagnoli, who really has shown to be a superb talent here in the latter half of the season in particular, third. And then number 80, well done indeed. We saw what was going on in Touring Car A. Touring Car B, it was P.J. O'Connell hanging on over his teammate. I say P.J. O'Connell. They were so close, I've got them combined here. Kanan O'Connell over P.J. Gronke, the teammates with Ted Saley. A nice run into third, but what a story and what a race. Really in every category. You can't look at any one of these three classes and say it wasn't good stuff. Gronke came in with a 1-point lead over Jake Peipel, who ended up finishing back and forth, so he'll essentially open his margin up. But Kanan with the win is going to, I think, slip through possibly into second. He was 4 points behind Peipel coming in. So this Touring Car B Championship came in top three covered by 5 points. Well, we're going to leave here after this 9th round and another round to go tomorrow. Absolutely intense. All right, Jeff has made his way down to Victory Circle, and there he has found a very happy 3-time straight winner, Jeff.
Yeah, 3 in a row for Gregory Leafouge. Great pass there. You were battling from Nick Whitmer all race long. You got to first off tell us about that pass back for the lead.
I got a good exit off the back straight, got in the draft, and Nick was super fair there. Didn't defend too hard, and after that we went side by side for I think 4 or 5 corners. So it was a lot of fun. He was super fast, really hard to get by him, and just to keep up with him. So our car, Cameron Racing, gave us an amazing car today. The car just stayed consistent the whole race. The tires stayed under us, so super happy with the results.
Well, Greg Creamer, all smiles down here for Gregory Leafouge, as it should be.
Absolutely. That was a tremendous run, and you can see the congratulations coming from the team. That battle with Whitmer was absolutely superb. And as we said at the end, Leafouge, he's so good at making sure he's got a fast car at the end of the races, and it paid off with a 1.5 second margin over Nick Whitmer, who was so close till he had that bobble in turn 11. Magagnoli, what a story he's becoming here in this championship. Defending champion Toby Grahovic right there in 4th, Matt Travis in 5th for the Classic BMW camp. And again, they've got a huge contingent of people here. Mason Filippi right there in 6th. Tony Rivera is your first non-BMW. Great run for him in his Nissan 370Z. Great to have him be able to make it to this championship. Jacob Rudd up from 12th on the grid to 8th at the finish. Stefan Sajak in 9th. And there you see Holton in the Audi in the 10th spot. And that's big, because that's a big point swing from Leafouge in 2nd in the points, winning. Holton leading the points in 10th. He still has a big margin, but it's pretty intense battle unfolding right here. And here is a guy who has been a remarkable addition. What a story it would have been had he been able to run the entire season. We're just thrilled he's been able to show up here. This is Kenny Murillo, and this time, Jeff, you talked about it, this time he truly earns it on track.
Yeah, getting the hug from Mom here. Kenny Murillo, you coming into this championship season, man. Congratulations on the win. This one, a second win for you, but you earned this one, and you're on the top step.
It feels good, we bust our butts to get here, and it's the least I could do for this group. That they worked so hard, and like I said, it's the least I could do to put on the top step. My whole family's here. Super grateful for everything. There's nothing I can say. Kevin Murillo, my dad, put this car on rails with these Pirelli tires. It was so hooked up, and it was amazing to drive.
Tell us about that pass you made for the lead.
Well, following Elvon, I was just kind of scouting and see what he does under certain situations, and as soon as the gap opened up, you got to take it, or else you're not a race car driver anymore, right? Yeah.
That's what they say. Well, Kenny Murillo able to get that win here today.
Yeah, he was. Just an exceptional run. Congratulations. And, of course, the battle behind him was off the hook between teammates Fasnacht and Goulart. And there you see the results at this stage. Jeff Sexton was able to hang on over Tom O'Gorman. But look at the speed of that lead trio. Kind of gives you an idea of the zone they were in on this day with that margin that they had from 3rd back into 4th. Shea Holbrook sitting there in 6th. And again, nice job just kind of getting out of the way when all of those touring car leaders were coming through, understanding the big picture. And of course, could have been a whole different deal. We don't know what Eric Powell would have had. He certainly had pace in qualifying in that number 23, but never actually got the race started, then came out, but ended up finishing in the pits. So struggles there And unfortunate to see that. And now, of course, we had that great battle for almost the entire race between the teammates in Touring Car B. And by my reckoning, Jeff Kanan O'Connell has just got his third win in the last 4 races. He's closing his points at battle up.
Well, definitely coming on strong in the clutch 3 of the last 4. Kanan O'Connell, you're battling with your teammate there. Do you guys flip a coin to see who gets the win before the race?
Yeah, man, PJ is so hard to race with. Real quick, thank you so much, Jason and Nicole Bondurant, man. You guys believed in me, and thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Josh Crampton, that was for you, man. PJ is really one of the greatest guys, on and off the track. I mean, I know you know that. A lot of people know that at home. So just an absolute pleasure to work with, racing really hard, but racing really clean. So now the whole Texas work crew did an awesome job this weekend, and again, PJ is just a class act. So pleasure racing with it.
Well, congratulations, Kanan O'Connell, once again closing that points gap. It's going to come down, I think, to that final corner at Mazda Race. We're going to take it for this TCB lead.
And we have seen that in Pirelli World Challenge before, haven't we? Right down to the last lap of a championship for sure. Here's a look at the results. Again, Jake Peipel, who came in second to the points, struggling a little bit here, finishing back in 4th. And I think Kanan will slip by Jake into second in the points championship. PJ will lead and may technically have even opened it up just a little bit. But, boy, it's going to be incredibly close coming into this last 3 races. 1 tomorrow, and then, of course, the season finale in September at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. So just remarkable racing. So we're going to wrap things up here on our global webcast. We will be back with you at around 1 o'clock this afternoon local time, so that would be 2 o'clock Eastern, for our first of 2 Pirelli World Challenge GTS races that will set sail. And then we will have also the second of the Sprint X races that will run this weekend. Last night we had the makeup race from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. This afternoon at about 3 o'clock, we will be starting with our pre-race activities for the first of the true double headers here for the weekend. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure you come back and join us. Boy, there's a look at that great save once again. You may not have got the win, but that was one of the great saves we have seen this season for sure. So thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of Jeff Lepper, I'm Greg Kramer. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you this afternoon.